Alright, what we got here is our creepy crawly pool sweeper, and it's gonna get a major service today. I'm gonna be referring to it as Bruce because that's what I call it, after Jaws. The shark in Jaws' nickname during the filming was Bruce, after Steven Spielberg's lawyer. Anyway, first thing you'll notice, seems a little wobbly, and that's because it needs new bearings on all four wheels. Second thing you'll notice, this is a check valve. When it shuts off, this check valve is supposed to sit like that so that the debris in the bag doesn't fall back onto the pool surface. But over time they get so brittle and stiff that that is not checking anything. So that does not work as a check valve. We have a replacement. Here are the replacement bearings for the wheels. We've got 8 of these. So let me show you how this works. There's a metal gear on both sides of the front, and that drives the plastic gears on the wheels, just the front wheels. Now, here's a tip you may have already heard. When your front wheels, when the gears on the front wheels wear out, you can actually just simply swap the front with the back because they're made from the same mold, and you'll have fresh meat up front. The metal ones are obviously not going to wear out on plastic. So even though the wheels spin perfectly smooth, they're not very secure, and that means that this gear does not mesh cleanly, which means you're going to get premature wear. So we're going to replace those bearings. We're also going to replace the bearings that hold that gear shaft in place, the metal gear shaft, and that's these guys right here. So I'm going to do that now, and then I'll show you the improvements. But let's just recap. It's very wobbly. The gears don't mesh too well. This thing stays open, and obviously we're going to need tires too. Alright, so the first thing you're going to want to do is remove the 4 wheels. For that, you just need a flathead screwdriver. So now I've got the front wheels off. I wanted to show you why I'm replacing the turbine shaft bearings. There are 2 bearings that hold this shaft in position. Remember, when 2 sets of gears are one is driving another, they need to be in a precise location. Otherwise, like I say, you're going to get premature wear of the plastic parts of the gears. And these spin freely, but listen to it. You hear that? And also note how much movement there is here. So the new bearings are going to be, that's going to save the teeth on the inside of the wheels, because now they're going to be running more precisely with the replacement bearings on the wheels and the replacement bearings on that shaft. The gears are going to line up much more precisely, and they should last a long time. And remember your fronts and your backs, because in my case I've already swapped the fronts to the backs, so I've got good gears up front, and I want to replace the fronts with the fronts. So this is one of the ones I took off the back that had completely worn out. you know, they started out life on the front, and then as they wore out, I put them on the back, and you can see the wear. Here's the other one that used to be on the front that I just took off the back, and you can see the wear right there. The teeth are completely gone, which is why they just kind of freewheel on the back now. We don't need those teeth. These are the front ones now that are in much better condition. We have a lot more meat on those teeth. And this one. And like I say, because now these gears are going to line up because of the new bearings here and the new bearings on the wheel, they should last a long time. Now we got the wheels off. The next thing is we got to get inside this thing so that we can replace the bearings for this shaft right here. And for that we're going to need a Phillips screwdriver. So I've turned Bruce upside down, and there's 5 screw holes on the bottom to get your initial tear down. And like I said, with a Phillips screwdriver, just get in there and remove these screws. So those 5 are now loosened, and you can just remove this, and the screws can stay in place while you put it to one side. Now Bruce is back on his belly with the underside removed. The next thing you want to do is pull this piece off, but there is an obstruction of the 2 pins that hold the debris bag in place, and they're really easy to remove. There's a little notch in there. You just squeeze this together with something like a pair of pliers or something, and then slip them right out, and then this thing will come right off. So Bruce's top is off. Like I said, you just remove these little pins, and they just pull that rear stabilizing float off, this guy right here, and slips right off. It looks a little intimidating at this point, but don't be afraid. It's really actually quite easy. We did this so we could access this bearing and this bearing, and these are the turbine shaft bearings, and as you can see, they are long overdue for replacement. Now if your wheels, the gears on your wheels wear out and you replace the wheels and you find that they wore out again real quick, this is why right here. It's because you didn't replace the bearings too. If you just replace the wheels, you're going to tear them up real quick with bad bearings. In fact, in some cases, I would imagine if your wheels are starting to go a little bit, you may be able to just replace this bearing and actually get a little more life out of the gears on the wheels, because this won't be moving around so much. It'll actually be a better engagement of the plastic and the metal. But we're going to replace these right here. It's really, really easy. 1, 2, 3, 4, and just replace those. Alright, so we got the bearings out. Again, they're slightly different on one side than the other. The inner race with the spline shape to match the gear. You want this part that's more flush and not inside to be on the outside towards the wheel. I just want to do a comparison, show you why it's so important to replace these bearings. This one is bad, and you can see the movement inside there, and you can hear it too. So here's a new one, and there's no movement within the circle, so it's nice and tight, and it makes a lot less noise. So this is really gonna stabilize this shaft as it drives the wheel. Now the new shaft bearings are in place, and there's a huge improvement here. This does not move. So now the gear that drives the wheel is totally solid in place and spins freely, but it doesn't move. So when the wheel is surrounding it, it's going to be a really good connection on the plastic gears inside the wheel. We now have his base back on and the top back on. I've replaced the flapper check valve, so now it closes. After it shuts off and all the debris is in the bag, boom, debris stays put. This was the old one. You can feel the difference. It's really quite brittle. And also put these back in. These are what hold the debris bag in place, but they were necessary. It was necessary to remove them to get the top off. So that's it for all the internals. All we needed to do was replace the bearings for the turbine shaft, and it is impressively smooth and precise right now. Next, we're going to put the new bearings in the wheels. Like I said before, I've kept these separated so I know where the good gears are and where the old worn out gears are. And we're going to put the new tires on. Okay, so just want you to note this is what one of the bearings looks like, and make a note of the orientation that they're inserted. There's some notches cut out, and the inner race is slightly longer on this side, and that's the way it comes out. So that's the way your replacements are going to go in. It's probably not a good idea to over tighten these. You should be okay, but they are nylon. But being nylon, there's a lot of friction to hold them in place, so you don't need to tighten them down. I mean real tight. Bruce's major service is now complete, and it probably took 20 minutes, half hour maybe. And he's a lot tighter now. And these gears are meshing much smoother and consistently. And the check valve. So we got a total of 10 new bearings, 4 new tires, and a new check valve. I got everything from Amazon. If you just go into Amazon and there's a serial number on your model, it'll tell you what the model is. This is a LL505G, and you can punch that into Amazon. It'll give you all the parts that'll fit your sweeper. Alright, now you may have noticed there are no hubcaps on this guy. That's because one of them got broke, and so I took the other 3 off. But I'm going to fix that one and stick them back on.